In the previous video, I left off with a more detailed look at the plan as it stands right now. I've done a couple of things in the meantime. Mainly, I put the cutter head back on, but this time I shimmed up the other side over there. So it's very close now. I won't do any more shimming on this until I get the in-feed and out-feed table built, so I'll tune everything up at the same time. Another thing I did was I added these pieces on the end here just as temporary spacers, and what they do is they hold the side panels the right distance apart. What I'm doing now is getting ready to put the bottom panel in that the motor will attach to. I need to make some kind of a simple mechanism to tension the belt that goes on here. Speaking of the belt, I've got one picked out. It's always a good idea to have 2 or 3 on hand that are different lengths, and I've got one here that's 40 inches long. These days you can get link belts, and I'll probably eventually switch this out to a link belt, but the 40-inch belt that I have here looks like it's the perfect length. So I've taken the motor and I've put the right size pulley on, and what that does is it tells me where I need to cut the holes in the side panels here. First on this side over here for the pulley to come through, and then over on the other side over there to ventilate the motor. I'm going to be using 3/4 inch plywood for that bottom panel, and I'm going to cut that to 12 3/4 wide, and that fits in between the side panels, and 14 inches long. Okay, so that panel fits in here on the bottom and goes up tight to the end here as well. At this point in the build, I'm not going to use any glue for these parts, just in case I need to take something apart all the way, and I won't be able to do that very easily if it's glued up. So I'm going to just put screws in there for now. I drilling a countersink first, and then a pilot hole into that. And then I've got these 2-inch screws, and I'm going to put 3 on each side. And that should be more than enough to hold that panel in place for now. All right, that side done. I can flip it over and do exactly the same thing on the other side. With that out of the way, I can mark the holes on the side panels here. I've got my beam compass set to 3.5 inches to make a 7-inch circle. And what I'll do is I'll just draw that on there. And then what I'll do is I'll drill a starter hole for my jigsaw blade and cut that hole out reasonably neat. I'm not too concerned about this one over here on this side because it'll be covered by the belt guard. But I'll try to do a neater job on the other side because that one will be open for everyone to see. Okay, that's that side done too. What I may end up doing here is going around this with the router bit to round it over and make it look neater. I'm just kind of eyeballing it here with the motor lifted up slightly on this side. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a strip to the front of the piece of plywood for the base of the motor to go against. And then on this side over here, I'm just going to put bolts up through the bottom, 2 of them, and put nuts underneath the edge of the plate here to hold the motor up, but also put nuts on the top to hold it down so it tightens this belt up nicely. And it also bolts this down tight to the frame. Now at the front of the motor here, all I need to do is drive in a couple of screws to hold that plate down into that corner where I added that strip across the front. All right, with that done, I can take the pulley and slip it on here and see how it looks. Well, that looks pretty good. It could be a little tighter, but all I need to do is lower those nuts and the motor will drop down and tighten that up. All right, that looks really good. Everything is lined up properly. The motor feels nice and solid. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to vibrate all over the place. This is the kind of solution that I really like. It's simple, it's to the point, doesn't take long to do. And it's the type of thing that you set and forget and don't have to mess around with in the future.